What's up? What's up? How you doing? Okay. I want to talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, about a simple device that I'm currently using right now that I just bought. But as a backstory, I want to let you know exactly why I bought this certain device here, right? See, the camera that I have built into my MacBook right here that came equipped with this computer here is pretty much 720p, okay, which is not bad if you're just streaming, dealing with just HD, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Nothing more, nothing less, okay? But the volume, the microphone that's built into this computer here, to me personally, is a champ. My problem with the microphone here is this. If I was to do a FaceTime call just strictly off of this computer here, camera and microphone, and I am communicating, and if I'm not sitting directly in front of this computer right here, it'll be a problem, because if I could go anywhere around and to talk, it seems like the microphones on this computer don't pick up. Okay. Now, as far as the camera is concerned, my biggest problem is that when the lights is low, it looks retarded, and throughout the day, whatever, there's not much. I mean, it brights, it does what it do. But another thing that gets me is that because this camera is comes built in, there's really no real settings within the Mac ecosystem that could calibrate the camera settings within this computer here. But that problem's been resolved here because I went ahead and bought this right here, this Anker PowerConf C200. Now, for what I understand here, the microphone in this thing here is supposed to be a champ, and this camera here is supposed to be a champ. Now, I'm going to put this to a test to see whether or not how true this really is. For now, I'm going to switch over the right now as I'm talking to you today. Excuse me. I am using. I got the control panel pulled up. Had a nice cough. And when I go to the mic mode, I have it set at standard. Now I'm switching it on voice ISO. The point behind that here is to test the difference between the voice ISO and the standard that's based on this Mac. Because when I start the next round of testing, I'm going to test this camera out here to stress test it to see if the standard or the voice ISO applies to this, and also how the difference in the video output from this camera compared to the camera that I have right here. So right now I'm kicking it with you guys on the voice ISO in the mic mode from the control panel on my Mac here, okay? And I'm using the camera that's built into this computer. This is how it sounds. Okay, I've switched cameras, okay? I went from using the Max camera to this camera right here, okay? Now, as I stated before here, this is a simple comparison here. Now, I'm not comparing this camera here at its best, because to me, it is not at its best right here, because as you can see here, the camera here, as I plugged it into the computer, simple plug and play, and it came out the way it is, okay? But it's super clear, and it's good, okay? All I have to do is go into the settings here and just toy around with it a little bit, just to give it the look that I want it to look. But as is, it's still a good camera, right? Now, another thing that I had to do here is I had to dive into the settings of my Mac here and go into the sound and go to input, and I have to switch it around a little bit. Instead of using a Mac Air microphone here that's built in, I had to switch it to the Anker PowerConf C200 that's plugged in via USB on my Mac here, okay? So now that I have that switch, and I noticed the gains at the bottom of the input level, it's telling me that I'm talking directly to this camera here. Now, as I'm talking here, it seems like it picks up pretty well here, just based off the gains in the settings here. So when I switch this thing over from the standard, which I already have it set at standard in the control panel here, I go to voice ISO. Now this is voice ISO, right? It sounds the way it sounds, okay? Now granted, I want to say for the records that this camera is supposed to have noise cancellation from the mic standpoint, right? So I decided to see how far this really goes with or without the help of the control panels in the mic mode here when I switch from standard to voice ISO. Right now I have it set at voice ISO. This is how it sounds. Now, as an added bonus, I wanted to toy around with the settings of this camera here, that this webcam here that came standard with this, right? So right now I have the AnkerWorks setup pulled up in front of me right now. Now I went to the speaker, the microphone portion of it first, because the way I have it right now, I have it set at omnidirectional. The reason why I have it set that way is because of the fact that whenever I'm talking to somebody via Facebook or Zoom or whatever, and I get up from this computer and go somewhere else, and I wanted to continue with my conversation, I get a lot of people telling me, "Oh, I can't hear you," whenever I'm using the Max microphone. Okay, so to swallow that, I decided to try this on for size here to see how that works. So I'm gonna get up and take a walk to the kitchen and still hold this conversation, right? Then I'm gonna go from one end of my kitchen to the next, right? As you can hear, the chairs being moved around and so on and so forth, right? Now, mind you, I have it set at omnidirectional, which is 360. Now I'm gonna bring it back to where you at? Where you at, mouse at? Here you go. Now I'm gonna bring it back to directional 90 degrees. Now I'm talking directly to the camera. Now as it's advertised, once I have it set at directional 90 degrees, I'm supposed to be able to talk straight into the camera, and straight into the camera is how it's supposed to come through. So if I was to get up and go left or right or around, so I'm gonna get up and walk around, walk around, coming back. This is how it sounds when I'm walking around and still holding this conversation with you guys here. Tell me what you guys think. Another thing here I want to stress to you guys here that really gets me about this camera here, this webcam here, is the fact that I can control this. So for example, if I'm sitting in front of this computer right here and I'm talking to you, and I wanted to move this camera around a little bit, I could even move it this way, right? This is within the settings of the AnkerWorks setup here, right? I could go up, I could go down, right? I could zoom in and out, okay? I like that. I think that's cool, right? And also, like I said before here, I could toy around with the mic settings on this thing as well, right? And also, the thing that I really dig about this camera here is that when I go into the actual settings here, I could toy with the brightness. Now, it's kind of dull for what it is. So if I wanted to up the ante on the brightness a little bit, just give it a little bit, okay? Not too much, right? And then I'll sharpen it up a little bit. Okay, and just toy around with a little bit. You see, I like this now because the color of my shirt here is not flushed into the wall right here, which is cool, right? And my hat, everything about me pretty much stand out. Now I have managed to set this up the way I like it compared to the camera that comes standard with this computer here. Now I know if I decided to switch cameras, right, I go into the settings of my Mac right here, and no, better yet, no, pull this up right here. Now that I have my photo booth up and I go to the top and I hit the camera, it's not going to allow me to switch it in mid stride here. So I will have to stop this recording and then switch cameras, which I'm about to do now. Now, this is the actual setup. This is the camera setting right here. Now, I know it's a little bit off right here, so let me just go back in here and go here and just pull this, pull you here a little bit, right? Make this look even, right? And boom. And then I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna switch cameras and compare notes here, okay? Okay. This is my final assessment, right? I thought about extending this video with a few add-ons here and there, okay? But I'll just keep it simple, okay? The only one regret that I have here that I forgot to tell you guys is that when I did my testings, I had it set at the 2K highest max that this camera here can do, okay? And the reason why, because I wanted nothing but the best for this, right? So that's why I did that. There, I said it. Another things here that I want to stress about this camera that I like is the fact that it has a vent on the side of each of the cameras here. It seems like this camera gets hot, okay, during use, so it blows out air at the side, or at least there's some type of air coming through here. I'm not sure what the mechanics of that is all about, but another thing I like about this camera here overall is that you'll know when you're on, because that little light at the front will tell you that. But also it has a switch at the top right here. When you turn it off, boom, you know what I'm saying, that's it. You know what I'm saying? You get a big camera with an X with a line across right there telling you that the camera's not in use. And when you turn it back on, voila. You know what I mean? So it really, this camera is dope. I like it. Now, I'm using this on my MacBook Air right now, so that it does look a bit bulky. But aside from that, I don't think it's meant for that on the day-to-day. But if it is, that's your preference, that's your choice, so be it, okay? I understand the reason why, because the camera on the computer may not be all that to you. Now, at the end of the day, I want to say for the records, this is a good buy. I will recommend this to anybody that's looking to save a little bit, don't want to get the high-end camera, but don't want a crazy camera as well. This camera right here fits the mold here. This is a perfect camera for anybody starting out or just doing their thing in the world. However you want to address it, this is a good camera, okay? My name is Will. You can subscribe to my channel. I don't have a lot of videos out as of yet, but I'm working on it. So if you want to like it so that you can motivate me to, you know what I'm saying, to put out more content, I'd be happy to do that. And furthermore, if you want to comment on this, please do so here, because I don't mind the constructive criticism, but the negativity out. I'm not trying to hear that. That's it. For now, I want to thank you guys for your time and attention on behalf of this. You guys have a good one. Stay safe.